Good morning, everyone. January the 17th in the morning. Want to do some updates for the ALGO-IQ.com, the ALGO-IQ program. With that program, we do have the mom signals fully automated strategy. We have the scalp dots fully automated strategy for use on symmetrical Renkos, which is different than the AIQ, short for ALGO-IQ bars here. And then we have the new Superbands, very complex, fully automated system getting launched in the week ahead, and I want to give you an update on that. Let's take a quick look at Friday's trading. We advise our automated system traders or those using the tools with the audible alerts in a manual discretionary mode for the 8:30 U.S. Central Time, Chicago time to 8:32 is a no trade zone. Leave that alone. Sometimes institutionals are doing a rebalancing out of the open and can cause some burbles. So it's just like, hey, just wait a few minutes. I do have some in the group that wait till 8:35 even. That's fine. And I have some in the group that wait every day. They don't take any automated trades till 8:45. In the end, that's up to you. With the program, you get settings on what to use right away out of the gate, so you can go in and hit the markets every day, so you don't have to do your own optimization. But we do have sophisticated traders that do their own optimization, and they come up with some pretty scary good stuff. So first 2 minutes we don't trade. Out of the 8:32, let's talk about the mom signals, kind of one of the heavy lifting automated strategies within the program. We had a mom signal, and mom is short for momentum. We're looking at how price candlesticks form in the logic of the AIQ1 indicator that's running on this chart. I have subdued candles, but I have aqua or cyan color, you can call it, and Dodger blue with the dots and the squares. That is the AIQ, short for ALGO-IQ 1 indicator. We got a signal. You would be short in the market on that signal. Your stop per our settings would be right here. When the market gets at least about 1-to-1 or a little bit greater, we talk about that in the training. We have a benchmark in the settings. We call it the break-even threshold. Price touches that. The nanosecond it does, your stop moves to break-even plus, and you're in a trade. And then you had a secondary short signal. You're already in a trade, so it wouldn't go off, but actually you should have been one and done. So somewhere in here, first trade of the day, you should have been done. If I'm not mistaken, that was, actually you would have been done sooner than that. So usually, somewhere between the 55 to 60 point move mark, depending on your position size, you should be done. I do have some traders that trade unique. They trade really fat position size. And, when they get 15 ticks in the money, they take part of the trade off. They get 21 ticks in the money. They take another part of the trade off, and then they have the last half of the trade on. And it doesn't have to go very much. And they get on a 150K account, they go for 500 to 550 a day, and they're done really fast. You can do that, and the tools do have outputs. So the mom signals and the dots that we call scalp dots are outputs, as well as the indicator positioning. So we have people with third-party tools that do all that custom, unique, automated stuff, and that's perfectly fine. We always include every output you could ever want on all of our tools, and if we don't have an output that you want for third-party tools to see the indicator and read it bar close by bar close, we'll add it, no problem. So Friday was a very quick day. Scalp dots is taking these dots that are part of the AIQ1 indicator, but optimizing the AIQ1 indicator for a symmetrical Renko, just like we use over at my other separate system that we showcase with one of my programmers at his website of proptradingindicators.com. So that's a separate system. But on this one, More traders are sending me emails on the way they're using scalp dots over and above what I show in training. I'm going to add some training to the program on scalp dots to show a few more ways to go in and utilize that approach. And then the big boy that's coming online here, the complex trade, and what I really want to get into is the Superbands trade. So I should be ready to deploy the Superbands trade by the middle or end part of the week ahead. And then that will also be, so whoever's in the ALGO-IQ program right now, you get all that. But anybody new coming on board, obviously, you would get it too. So anytime in this program that anything is updated or added during your 6-month term or whatever type of package plan you're on, you get those items. You don't have to pay extra. Okay, so let's take a look at the Superbands. So what are we going to be doing with the Superbands? So we're going to have 2 outputs available in the tools. We're going to have the triangles are already outputs in the tools, but the automated strategy will have the ability to read the primary signal, which is a cross. And let me talk about that, like what is a cross? So one of the primary signals, and these are bar close events. So at a bar close, if the faster bands in green, the lower part of the fast bands, we have main bands and we have fast bands. If the fast bands, in this case they're lime colored, pierce below the main bands and then close back inside, that is a primary signal. We had one here. Let me mark these. We had one right here. So right now I'm seeing 3 primary signals. And remember, this is just one instrument on one particular time frame. This has thousands of possibilities depending on what time frame, what kind of bar type. And when you're using the Superbands indicator, this is the 7th evolution of these are adaptive price bands. This one was built with absolutely brand new computational style and all new math, and it's the best ones I've ever built. And we call it Superbands. They're very, very unique indicator. These are not TMA, they're not center of gravity, they're not polynomial regression channel or any of that other high amount of recalculating style tool. That's not what these are. Okay, we had another event across right here. So these are primary signals. If the fast bands pierce outside of and spend time outside of the main bands and then close back inside, that is what we call a cross event. So that can be utilized as a signal to go short the market. This was a cross event, would be a long signal or a bull signal. So that's a bear signal. There's a bull signal. We had another bull signal. Now, there's some settings on some time frames. I don't care what instrument you can get this so dialed in and scary. And I've had traders literally since the end of May of 2025, or June maybe it was, screaming at me to give them an automated strategy wrapped around the Superbands. And I'm like, well, this is going to be complex. This isn't get in, get out, kind of like trading with the mom signals, but I'll go ahead and do it, and we'll make it happen. So anyhow, it's in build. We went in 2 directions with it, and I've solidified which one of the 2 options I can definitely tell we're going to go with as the final version. We're just finalizing what we're going to name all the settings, some of the features in the settings, an update to the indicator to talk to the strategy, but also to have everything consistent for those that just want to use the Superbands tool, continue to use it with third-party tools like TradeSaber's Predator, or maybe somebody's on Captain Optimus, or maybe somebody's an old Bloodhound Blackbird user, from that device to go off and take these signals from our indicators, put them into your algorithmic sequencing as you go off and build your own custom, entry in trade management, fully automated systems. So the super bands will get deployed in the week ahead. The programmer and I are targeting where I'm kind of testing the final version all through the day Wednesday, smoothing out any last little things I see, then put it in the hands of the group at some point Thursday. I don't do launches of tools in the morning. I'm too damn busy, but maybe midday, maybe by 1, 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time with some initial training, because the training around this is complex. There's a lot of different ways you're going to be able to use this strategy. And I've had a lot of people say, hey, I want the triangles as signals too, because I can go in and optimize the super bands on certain time frames and instruments where I only have like just 1 or 2 triangles per excursion outside of the bands. And in the bands, we have an automated ability to optimize how wide the bands should be for that particular instrument and for that particular time frame. We already have that built in, and that will be an additional item getting enhanced as part of the overall indicator update that will then align with and talk to seamlessly the Superbands underscore strat, STRAT, short for strategy. So this is will be on NT8, and put a lot of time and money into getting this built so the group can have it, and then it'll be there for anybody coming in the program, going forward. So this is probably going to be like my last hurrah strategy, at least, and an indicator update for the ALGO-IQ program, because the ALGO-IQ program has the very strong mom signals. The scalp dots open up a myriad of possibilities of trading automated. And then with the super bands, you got your trifecta of amazing capabilities, and adding anything else would just be a distraction. It's kind of like when you get it right, just that's it. That's the pinnacle. You get the view from the top of the pinnacle, call it good and be happy with it. You don't need anything else. You got so many different ways to trade automate, it's not funny. And the nice thing with scalp dots and the nice thing with the super bands is your swing traders. You could go run a trading fund off the super bands automated strategy on higher time frames. I literally trade institutional FX fully automated, been doing it for 9.5 years with a super band strategy. There's some uniqueness to the way we do it, but it's this exact same type of indicator, doing this exact same type of trading, looking for framing up the markets. What is the dynamic ongoing range of the market? And then when the market gets excursions beyond that ongoing, tabulated or calculated dynamic range, taking shots at the market to the short side or the long side. So having defined areas then to go in and attack the market. And the nice thing when you're swing trading, you don't have to put a lot of liquidity on these trades. You can trade a very small amount of liquidity and have a stop that's not that big. So maybe the distance from your entry to the midband, maybe only have about 50 to 60% of that distance to the midband, or I should say at your entry point at the bar close. And I'll get into it. This is a little tip I'm giving you that we learned on trading this approach fully automated for institutional clients. At the moment you get a signal on what I will say optimized settings, whatever that distance is from entry to the midband, we found out that there's a percentage of that we can always utilize as the risk. And it's, right around 50% was always a little bit less, but right around, it was kind of in the 55 to 65% of that distance from the entry to the band could always be our maximum amount of risk. And that gave us a real high, I guess you could say, percentage of trades that would go in our intended direction to the midband before they would ever come and hit the stop. Now that's, of course, you have to be on optimized settings with that approach. Then what we would do is take a portion of the trade off here and then see if the trade will run to the other side of the bands. But at that point, when we're at mid bands, our stop is to break even plus, and not a little bit plus, but a fair amount. So even if the market comes back and needs to cycle one lower, we've made money here and we made a decent amount of money on the remainders. We're good. We made some good money on that trade. And then the trades that we get in, let's say we get into a trade here and we have our stop, and in higher time frame, and 3 days later, well, fairly soon, let's say with day one, we get our mid band, then our stop goes to break even plus and we get blipped out, no big deal. But if we don't get blipped out and it finally comes down to the other side of the bands, we're averaging about 7.4 to 1 on a trade on the institutional FX, or the average time in trade, sorry, that was supposed to be a dot, is 4.2 days. Now I can play with the time frame and go up higher so we're in trades longer, but that ended up feeling comfortable and made an equity curve that looks fake, on a month after month after month basis. The equity curve is just beautiful looking. It's so stable, trading 12 to 16 instrument portfolios in FX. So anyhow, you guys will be able to use this on futures or whatever. You can talk out trade from NinjaTrader 2 with trade copiers and so on, but this will add a very dynamic new this is a complex way of trading. This is a very dynamic indicator that has wondrous amounts of possibilities. Just there's all kinds of different ways you can trade this way. So there you have it. Superbands is coming down the pipe. We'll add it to the group in the ALGO-IQ program. That will put the ALGO-IQ program in a league of its own with all three ways to trade automated. Mom signals is very different than trading scalp dots, which is very different than trading superbands. So you have three kind of non-correlated ways to trade automated, or you can use the signals and trade the setups manual every day, with bracketed ATM entries, or maybe use a trade saver tool for your, order management. Whatever you want to do, ALGO-IQ, going from 2 automated strategies to 3 by the end of the week, and that program will be at the pinnacle of capability for the long haul. So there you have it. If you have any questions, info@algo-iq.com, and really looking forward to putting the Superband's fully automated strategy into the hands of the current ALGO-IQ group, and then there is part of the program for anybody new that comes on board going forward. Okay, have a great morning. Talk to you all later.